For Christmas this year, we got one of these. But we already had one of these. They are actually getting along pretty well, but we wanted the cat to have a place not only where he could feel safe from the dog, but also where his food and water could remain unassailable. I wanted the top platform to be fairly high, so instead of a typical cat tree, which has a base to support it, I opted for a shelf-type system, which will mount directly to the wall. All of this will be covered in carpet or rope, so I'm using mainly scrap wood and finish nails for assembly. The critical joint for each of these shelves is the one between the perpendicular members and the apron, which sits flush against the wall. You might be tempted to use pocket screws for this joint, but let me show you why that's a bad idea with some ballpark engineering. Let's take one side of the shelf and assume a 12-pound adult cat stands at the end. For a 12-inch wide, 3.5-inch deep shelf, and a few other assumptions, we can calculate that the pull-out force on this screw is in excess of 60 pounds. Pull-out strength, also called withdrawal resistance for a screw, is a function of how far the screw goes into the wood. You can see if I use a pocket screw here, I can get at most 3/4 of an inch of wood contacting the threads of the screw. I know that will get me about 100 pounds of withdrawal resistance. Sure, that's more than the 60 pounds of force I calculated earlier, but remember that I didn't include the weight of the shelf itself, the weight of the water and food bowls, or the dynamic forces which can occur from a jumping or pouncing cat. Given all these uncertainties, I want a factor of safety much higher than what a pocket screw could provide. Screwing end to end grain reduces the withdrawal resistance by about 25%. But if I use a long enough screw going in this direction, even though I'm going into end grain, I can easily get 1.5 inches or longer into the wood, doubling the strength of the joint. Here, I'm flush cutting the plywood tops and then chamfering them with a router to make the upholstery process a little bit easier. I had to be careful to make sure the router didn't hit any of my brad nails along the top. I found this rug at the Big Orange Box, on sale for $15, and my wife liked the colors. I'm just using some staples and carefully placed cuts with the box knife to cover each shelf. This is kind of like wrapping a Christmas present, something I already struggle with, but with thick, stubborn wrapping paper. It's best to take your time and be patient here. The shelves are mounted so at least one stud falls behind each one. I used drywall anchors to supplement the screws that went into the studs. They went up really quick and they feel really solid to me. I added a couple of additional features to the shelves. This is a knot called a monkey's fist. I've always wanted a reason to learn how to tie it. And this is some scrap from the legs in my coffee table video. Wrapped in rope, it makes a perfect scratching post. My rope wasn't long enough, but the cat doesn't care. The cat is still learning how to use the steps, but I think he'll catch on quick. The dog has resigned himself to the new housemate, who he is not allowed to chase or eat.